Welcome back everyone. Today is quite an exciting day for me because guess what turned up in the post? GoPro Hero 8 Black. Quite excited about this. As you've probably all heard me moaning in previous videos about the current drift setup, I thought I'd go all out and get one of these. And it helps that GoPro are doing a deal at the moment, which means I'm assuming it means they're doing a new one later on in the year and they're trying to get rid of old stock, but this is still fantastic regardless. So in this video I'm going to do an unboxing. I'm going to go through my initial thoughts, and I'm also going to do a quick setup on my phone for MotoVlogging, but I mean it'd be a general across the board setup anyway. So first of all, the box and packaging seems very solid. It's quite well made. On the side we've got some general specs and features. So you got your 4K 60, also goes down to 1080 at 240 for your slow-mo. Hypersmooth 2.0, live burst is apparently a new feature, and we've also got the ability to shoot in RAW. We've got the super photo and the time warp. One of the bigger things for me at the moment is that my current drift, which is what I'm recording this on, only shoots in 1080p at 30 frames. So hopefully this will bring me a lovely increased level of quality, being able to do the 4K. This also gives me a hell of a lot more features than my drift does. I will be doing a drift versus GoPro comparison, just see, like, is it worth you guys upgrading, and me for that matter. But we'll obviously get back to that at a later date. On the other side we've got the contents of the box. Now I haven't had a GoPro before, so I don't know whether this is normal. However, I would have thought for a premium action camera that there'd be more in the box than the camera, the battery, and one mount, and a cable. But maybe that's me asking too much of high-end cameras like this. First of all, got to do a bit of a ASMR box opening, haven't we? Was that not delightful? Oh. Let's pull it out, shall we? Get rid of that. Really test that solid ability that I was saying about a minute ago. So obviously you can see here we've got the GoPro. It's on one of the standard mounts. Now this mount is, I'll show you in a minute, but it's basically a pinch mount. So let's get that off, shall we? In the middle of the pinch mount, I don't know if you can see that, we've got this little rubber bung thing. Now the idea behind this is that because these two pinch together, this rubber bung will stop it. So if I put that back, you cannot squeeze it, meaning it won't prematurely eject. We've all had that problem. Should do another little bit of ASMR. We'll get this. Oh, beautiful. Right, let's get this off. So pop that up, which is all good. Squeeze together, push. Ta-da. We'll put that back just so it's lovely and neat. So there's the camera. It looks quite nice. It feels solid, which is nice. This is the new battery door for the Hero 8. The rear screen obviously looks quite nice, quite large. Obviously that's touchscreen, we'll go through that in a minute. And then on the left hand side you've got a power and mode button. On the top we've got the shutter button. This is also start video, things like that. And the bottom, let's take it off this mount so you can see. Thumb screw, as per GoPro. There's your mount. Then you've got these two new legs for the Hero 8. Now these fold away. The idea behind these is that it gives you the ability to mount it to any of the GoPro mounts without having to use a case all the time. They feel quite solid, but I can imagine they probably snap. But you can get these, yeah, you can see there's small screws in there, so I feel like you probably can get replacement legs. Right, let's pop that down there, see what's in the box. What's in the box that always rocks. Ugh. Right, so in here, first thing, we have GoPro Plus. Do you have any questions? What's this? how to plug the battery in. If you can't work that out without that, how have you got this far in life? Some stickers, everyone loves stickers, and a GoPro manual. We will not be reading that at all, let's wing it like usual. And here we've got this. Right, so this comes with battery, cable, mount. Anything else? No. Get rid of that. First of all, sticky mount, 3M. These things are solid. They're ludicrously expensive from GoPro themselves, but you can get them cheaper online. USB-C, which is nice. No plug, but then everyone's got plugs. Like everything's USB nowadays, so I'm pretty sure we can forgive them for that. And then the battery. This battery's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be fair. Get rid of that. So, difference with this one over the previous generations, apart from the bottom being blue, apparently these are a slightly better efficient battery. So, although I think they're the same size as the previous battery, these work to give the Hero 8 a longer battery life. We'll find out whether that's true or not, but apparently that's the case. So there's that. First thing we're going to do, battery, GoPro, and then that deal that I was mentioning that GoPro are doing, they also throw in a free SD card. It's a 32 gig SanDisk Extreme. Not the biggest SD card, but it's free, so cannot complain. Let's get that in, shall we? Is it going to bug people if I do this? Oh, look at all the fingerprints on it. Oh, fingerprint. Pop this side door open. Now this is new for the Hero 8. I believe the old one had the battery insert on the bottom. So if we pop this door does come off, by the way, so don't worry that you're going to break it. It's meant to come off. So in here you've got battery, SD card, and then you've got your USB slot, which I guess is for charging, and it's also for external audio. So which way does that go in? Put it in that way. Beautiful. Battery's also got a nice tab on it, which means you can pull the battery out without having to dig away at it. And SD card. Now, from prior experience, I know that most SD cards have the metal strips facing out, so facing the thinner part of the camera. It's the same thing with my drift, and it's the same thing with my zoom as well. So if we pop that in there, and then you'll probably need some nails or a small pen or something to do that. You'll hear a click. There you go. So that's the same thing to take it out. Cool, and then we'll put the battery door back on. There you go. Nice solid click, push that in, click, job done. Right, shall we get into the setup? What I'm going to do, bring my phone out, and then we're going to connect it to the phone. So I will do a screen record and I'll put it up on the right hand side of the screen here. Let's open up the GoPro app. Send personalization data, yes. Let's want to do this. So you don't have any cameras connected, so on the side, hold down the GoPro button. That turns on. Lovely little start up here. Hopefully you can't just see the camera in the reflection. So obviously English, by using the GoPro, agree. Not for now. Found your GoPro. Press connect. There we go. Enter GoPro name. I'm just going to go with, there you go. Save new name. Your Hero 8 Black is ready. Let's go. So on the app, I think you can basically do what you can on the actual GoPro itself. Like you can go through previews, so you can set up your shot. You can go through the different modes and set things up like your modes. We'll get into that on the GoPro in a minute. Also go through and see your previous footage. You got your battery life, your connection, and your SD card availability up the top. So that's that. We'll stop that for now, and we'll deal with that in a minute. There normally is an update, but I haven't had to do it yet, so I'm assuming it's because I haven't got it connected to the Wi-Fi. So let's go in here. Hopefully you can see that well enough. So here we've got, this is the main screen. So up your top here, you've got your SD card and how much storage you can get in it. So it reckons I can get an hour and 16 minutes of recording within this current format. In the middle, you've got your settings. So you've got your time lapse, you've got your video, and then you've got your photo. Go into that in a minute. And then on the right hand side, you've got your battery life remaining. To change the modes on that, you literally can just swipe, which change your mode to photo mode, back, and then back again, and you've got time lapse. You can also change that with the mode button on the side, because look, it says mode on it. So you can press that and it cycles through the modes as well. Right, we'll leave it in video mode for the moment. So once you've done that, you've got your 4, I suppose these are like hotkeys. On these, there's zoom, you've got your stabilization, your slow-mo, and your white balance. So if you click that and then you pull up, and you can literally just slide up and down the screen, and it zooms in and out. So those, we can go through all those later at a later date. Now, if you want to change these, if you hold on it, you get this, and it comes up with this, and then you can go through. You can change that hotkey to whichever one on here. So you like your sharpness, your ISO max, minimum, white balance, etc. I'm going to leave it at zoom for the moment, and we tap back on the screen. That gets rid of it. Now, one thing I want to do is I want to go into the different modes. So this brings up the current video mode setting. Same for photo, same for photo lapse. They have their own ones. So you've got your standard, your activity, which is you can see is a slightly different frame rate. So you've got 2.7K at 60 with super view. Your cinematic, which is 4K 30 linear, and then you've got your 1080p 240 frames wide for the slow-mo. What you can also do on this is you can hit go. So we're going to make one of these now. So this is your own settings. So I can go into resolution. I'll say I want a 4K. Yeah, I don't care. So I want 4K, and I think I'm going to be filming in 30 for most of my footage, because I don't like how razor sharp 60 frames is. So I prefer to have, I mean, I would go down. They don't have an option for, you've got 24 frames a second. That's what most cinematic stuff is shot in America. I think it's 25 in Europe, but there's no option for that at the moment. So we'll leave it in 30. So that's that. Scroll back up, you can hit exit. Lens, you can obviously have your linear, your wide, and your super view. So I'm going to go super view because I'm going to use this for MotoVlogging. Hyper smooth on. Low light conditions, you can have your zoom and your clips. So that's that. You get all these different name presettings, which gives you a nice little logo as well. Which means if you're using the camera for multiple things, like your travel vlogging and your motovlogging, and then you're doing various things with it, you can set those up with different ones, which is your go-to preset. So I'm just going to do that. Motor, which is 4K, 30 frames a second, super view. Now what it's done, because I've gone into this setting, on the left here, you can see this hotkey at the bottom has changed to S. Now that is my lens. So you can see here, I've got super view, I've got wide, and then linear. There is another, in some of the settings, you've got a narrow setting, which is basically linear, but zoomed in a little bit more. So I'm going to leave this at super view, which is fine. So that's the basic home setting. If you scroll down from the top, you've got a few different settings, and you've got your preferences. If I go into preferences, you can go through all your wireless connections. You've got your general, which comes into like beep volumes and various things like that. And then you've got voice control, touchscreen, and various other bits. So I won't go through all of these now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up how I would like my GoPro to be. Now the main drive from this is I want to conserve battery life. The one thing this Drift has over the GoPro is the fact that the Drift has a 4-hour battery life as standard, and then you can buy a bolster battery which takes you up to 8 or 9 hours, which is crazy. This is, I mean, an hour I think you'll be good to get, but you can change some of these settings and it should extend it a bit. So I've got my wireless connection off, which I think is just the Wi-Fi. Difference with that is it's just, I think it will come in when you walk into your house, it will connect to your Wi-Fi and see if there's any updates, but I can do that on the app anyway, so that's fine. Go into the general settings. I don't want my beep volume that high, so you can take that down. Quick capture is a mode where, I mean, it says here anyway. So the idea behind this is you can, when your camera's off, you can press the shutter button and it will start up, take photo, or start up, take video straight away. So it's really good if you want that reactive stuff, but the camera never fully turns itself off. So obviously uses battery, so we'll keep that off. Default presets, auto power offs. Now here's another one, LEDs. So on this camera you get a small LED up in the corner here, and you also get a small LED up in the corner here. Now mainly for vloggers, if you've got this on a selfie stick for example, and you've got that light flashing, whoever you're filming is going to see that, immediately know that it's like most people will know that that is a camera recording, and it makes people act funny. It makes you act differently. So if you've got that off, it allows you to continue filming, capturing people's reactions as if they were off camera, which is really useful. So I'm going to turn, so your options here are all on, all off, or front off only. Now the only reason I'm leaving the back on is that I want to be able to look down at my handlebars or at my helmet and see that it's recording. So you go through everything else. You've got your video compression, date, your time. That's your general settings. Voice control is another thing that could be really useful if you're not wanting to touch it all the time. So I'll do a quick demo of this. With voice control, you can say things that will allow the GoPro to do things under the command. You've also got the wake up on voice, so you can also tell it to wake up. Now if I scroll down, there's actually a commands list, so you can go through and shout. So you say things like this, and it will start doing these things for you. So you start recording, you can start time lapses, go to video modes, etc., which is really quite useful. I will change that to English UK because better. I wonder whether it'll understand my dulcet tones. Now, just finishing these, GPS again for a battery saving measure, I've got that off. Everything else in there is fine. Input and output is if you've got an external mic attached, and then you've got your updates, your camera info and your battery info. So as you can see, I've got my voice commands on. So if I go back to the home screen, you can currently see I'm in photo mode. Now, if I shout GoPro start recording, straight into video mode, it starts recording. GoPro stop recording. There you go, happy days. Now you can do that with starting time lapses, stopping time lapses, taking photos, etc. Which is really useful. I'm going to turn it off because it's one of those things where it will drain your battery if you're not really using it. On here, what I am going to do while I'm here, I'm going to turn that grid on. And you've got your screen lock here as well, bits like that. Cool, so you can now see that I've got a grid on. Now that we've just done that recording, if I swipe up, so there are photos and the videos that I've just recorded, and you can play them back on the screen. Now what I can do as well is if I press the multi-select button, I will be able to select them all, and I'm going to delete them because I don't need them. No media, great. Next thing to do is, now I've got this set up as my own motor view, if you go into your settings, on the far right you have these pencils, you click one of those and it takes you into the actual settings again. So you can see this is all the stuff that I did before. However, if you scroll down, you've got your bit rate, your shutter speed, your EV comp, your ISO mins and maxes, whether you're shooting in high. So I'm going to quickly set this up. So because I'm shooting in 4K, I'm going to go to a high bit rate. My shutter speed is currently auto. So rule of thumb with this is your shutter speed is normally double your frame rate. So I'm currently shooting at 30 frames a second, so I'm going to put it at 1/60th. And then auto white balance, that is on, so you can set your Kelvin temperature basically. So you can change that on a different day. So if you want something to look slightly more saturated, then you can crank up the Kelvin, or you can just leave it at auto, and it should do quite a good job of it. ISO minimum's 100. I'm going to take that max down to, let's do to 400, I think. Sharpness, if you have that up too high, if you want to do anything in post, as in color grading or anything like that, you want to turn the sharpness down, because you can add sharpness to it, but it's very difficult to get rid of anything. And the color mode is always set into GoPro, which is the automatic color grading settings. So I'm going to put that into flat because I plan on doing a little bit of a little bit of movement in post for the colour grading. What I am going to do as well, you've got a wind setting here, so you can do automatic, on or off. Now, because I'm going to be using it on the bike, I want the wind noise to be on. And I think, although I'm using an external mic, having the wind reduction on will be good for those days where I don't take the mic with me. So here you can, again, you can go back into those settings and you can change some of the hotkeys, or the shortcuts as they're called. So that's set that up perfectly to what I need, and that's all I'm going to do for now. You can set that up for time lapse, and you can set that up for photo as well, but I mean it's the same kind of thing, so I'm not going to run you through it twice. Now the only other thing that I was going to show you on this is the front screen. You get your logo of the mode you're in, you get your shooting, your current shooting mode, and you get your battery life and your SD card. Now notice that obviously was over an hour when I first started. I mean I can do it on this screen as well. My available storage is only 36 minutes and 51 seconds. Now the reason for that is because when I turned the GoPro on, I was in 1080p at 30 frames a second, and I was on like a normal wide view. Currently, obviously we've gone through all those settings. I'm now in 4K, which is a larger file size, higher bit rate, remember, as well. And I'm in super view, so you can see that the available space on the SD card now has gone down to 36 minutes 51. It's really useful to have that on the front screen. It's quite nice when you're vlogging. You can see how long you've been recording for. You can see what you've got left, and if you like, then you can worry about your space. So you tap on screen, it brings it back to life, and then if you tap again, it brings up all your icons. You can tap again, hide those, and be able to set your shot up better. Just turn this off, shall we? Hold for a couple of seconds. Power's off. So that's about it for today's video. I have got a couple of others lined up, including this versus the drift, and like, is it worth upgrading, and a few other bits. So if you do want to see more on that, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And I sound like every other YouTuber. You're impressed with me. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.